Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to the Fly With Us podcast. This podcast is bringing the art of conversation, self-love, self-care, mental health care and protection, life lessons, love lessons, and everything in between. Today, we're going to talk about difficult conversations. I'm Lady Bounce.
I'm Kryptonite.
All right, go ahead, hit us with the mindfulness minute to get us started here.
Okay. All right. Unforced forgiveness just in time. Forgiveness doesn't only resolve our past, it alleviates our fear of the future. At a certain point in our adult lives, we have to forgive the things that our parents or other elder family members did or did not do for us when we were younger. Then there may be more serious situations of abuse or neglect where forgiveness does not come so easily and counseling may be necessary. In these cases, do not force yourself to do something you are not ready to do. The important thing is to loosen the hold that the past has on us so that we can go out and live in the moment and build new positive memories. If we hold on to those negative things from the past, the strain can cause mental and even physical illnesses. This evening, mentally forgive that member of your family who did something wrong to you. Hold the inner intention of forgiveness for the entirety of your meditation session. If you cannot forgive this person, and it is completely okay if you cannot, make a promise to yourself that you will again, when you are ready, get professional help for your own sake and not necessarily for the perpetrator. It is this time that the wounds from the past no longer hold you back. So,
that was a word right there.
Yeah, and it was a good one. So we are going through what we are going through in our family and everything, unfortunately. And when elder people pass, or when elder people are in the process of passing, you see people that you have known your whole life totally change. And turn into people you do not know.
Yeah.
And then you start to see the bitterness from the past, how people are still hurt over things from the past. Boy, I swear, as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about so much right now, but okay. Let me try and stay focused and stay on topic. But it's just, things that hurt us from the past, we gotta learn to let things go. We gotta learn not to give energy to the negativity, and we do have to learn how to let things go out and how to let things be. We really do. Not just for the sake of yourself, really, for the sake of yourself.
Well, they say that forgiveness isn't for the other person. It is for you, because 9 times out of 10, the person that has wronged you isn't walking around perseverating over whether or not you forgive them or not. So it definitely is for you. And then you hear people say stuff like, well, I'll forgive you, but I won't forget. So if you don't forget, does that mean that you really are forgiving?
Yes, it does. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'm that person. Look. No, for real. Because you can do something to me that I feel is really, really foul. But depending on how important you are in my life will determine whether or not I continue to mess with you.
Right. Well,
but no,
that's different than forgetting that it happened.
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. Because forgiving and forgetting, okay, them two different things, okay? Because I can forgive you and then I can forget you. You feel me? And I don't have to deal with you anymore. It doesn't mean that I have any animosity towards you. It doesn't mean that I'm mad at you for what you did. But it does mean I remember what you did and that shit was foul and I don't rock with you the same way.
Right.
And I'm not going to put myself in the same position to be done dirty again.
That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not, yeah, you can forgive somebody and not forget and be wholehearted in your forgiveness. But you just deal with people accordingly.
Okay. So in terms of having like those difficult conversations that are typically centered around feeling wronged being wronged, how do you have that conversation with somebody? How do you let somebody know? Like, for example, there are certain people, if it's a friend, it might be easier to have that conversation. Like, yo, you wronged me. I'm upset. We need to sit down and let's talk about it. Let's hash it out. If it's like a parent, a grandparent, or a family member that you're close to, it makes those difficult conversations that you have to have that much more difficult. Because you have that level of respect or that level of familiarity with the person that you just like, how do you start that conversation?
Me, personally, okay? Because you know who you talking to.
Right. That's why it was such a fitting question, because I know.
Okay. So, me, personally, I'm just going to have that conversation. Because I can't rock with you like that. Like, I can't. Like, okay, it's like this. Because there's levels to it.
Okay.
I don't like to be fake. I can be fake, but I don't like to be fake. Right. I don't like being disingenuous. Right. I don't like it.
It's a waste of energy.
But what's more of a waste of energy is me dwelling on something that I can't change. Like, I can't change that if I'm related to you and I don't like you. I can't change being related to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're older, you know what I'm saying? I'll give you a certain level of respect because you are my elder, but I won't rock with you like that. I'm not coming to visit you. I'm not checking on you. I'm not calling you. I ain't doing you no favors.
But it's kind of different depending on who it is. Like, if it's an aunt
that's
or
my
uncle,
point.
you can be like,
listen,
yeah.
That's my point. That's exactly my point. Now don't get me wrong. If I have if there is an elder person in my family that I don't like, but they are really in need, like this person literally, they are medical, there's an issue that they can't get out the house, they can't do this, they need a doctor's appointment. I'm not that petty where I'm not going to take this person to a doctor's appointment. Right. You feel me? I'm not going to be.
But we're not having afternoon tea.
We might have some afternoon tea, but that tea going to last about 15, 20 minutes. And then I'm going to be out. I'm going to do minimal. So that it won't be ugly. Right. And then at some point it'll get longer, and at some point maybe I will just push that, because you just old and fragile, and look at you. I mean, you know.
Look at you.
Damn. Hey, that sounded bad, didn't it? But for real. But think about it though, because you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. And you know, don't nobody rock with her like that. Nobody, right. none of us rock with her. Right. But there's going to come a time where she's going to really, really need something, and she don't have, and when she ain't got nobody. There is nobody that's going to be willing. Not one. None. Nobody. Yeah. And we all know why. You know what I'm saying? But understanding that she is how she is now. If she gets older and she's not, I would try to make sure she was comfortable somewhere. Yeah. But she ain't gonna. She won't stay home. I ain't gonna stay home, and like I help get her situated in a home or something. And right. And I think we do. Ooh, there was a plethora of things that I wanted to talk about. That really wasn't one of them. I was really today. I really wanted to talk about like the issue of forgiveness and as far as us getting back to our roots with family. Like, we have lost that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm straying from that last topic. We gonna forget that I was talking about that. Right now, instead, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how we can avoid having those types of feelings towards people that we love and care about. And what we need to do is start getting back to the root of family and how we used to be before crack tore our shit up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because they put that stuff in our neighborhoods, and that was so devastating. We still are feeling the effects of it. I think people forget that, how our family dynamics was destroyed when that stuff hit the scene. Yeah. And we have really, really, I mean, it's touched our family. We saw what it did to members of our family and stuff, and how it splintered the family, and how people's deaths splintered the family. And we really got to get back to all these outside distractions that are ripping us up. The prison system, the crack epidemic that rocked us, this stop and men getting shot and killed at a traffic stop. You know what I'm saying? I mean, all the things that affect us, tear us up so badly and splinter us up so badly that we don't even realize it. And it caused so many rifts.
Right. And now it's just, as a result, that's common practice. And it's so common practice that when somebody tells you or shows you a different way to do something or to be, it seems foreign. It seems like a complete foreign concept. Like when I tell my students that my parents are still married, and they be like, what? Or when I tell them that I've been married for 20 years, over 20 years, I'm like, my son is 20. He'll be 21 this year. My daughter's 16, and they like, you're married? Your kids have a dad? Yeah. I don't have a baby daddy.
I have a conversation with one friend all the time, and we are always talking about the state of African American people in America, because even though he is a man of color, he is not an African American. He is Dominican. So he differentiates himself, and he has an opinion, and that's fine because everybody has one. That's fine. And he feels as though I use the past as an excuse as to why Black people are in the state that they're in right now. You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, you can't not look at the past and not see how it affects the mindset of today. Right. Or things that have happened today. You can't do that. Like you can't say, well, Black people just weak and they just wrong, and you can't say that. You know what I'm saying?
You can, I mean, there's something that's blatantly obvious as the crack epidemic versus the opioid epidemic. You know? So the opioid addicted people get treatment and they get love and they get all of these things.
Yeah, because they have a disease.
Right, it's a disease. Right. But when it was crack and it was us, it was like, that's just what they do.
But let me tell you the difference in that as well. And why they have to do it that way. Because they are the ones that are prescribing those opioids to their sons and their daughters. They're giving it to them. They're the pushers. They're the drug dealers. And they have a legal license to do it. So they're treating diseases and they're treating pain. That's why it's a disease. When it was crack, it was illegal because they threw that shit out on our streets, and it was on corners and shit. You couldn't go to a doctor with a piece of paper and get it. You know what I'm saying? So that they criminalized that, you know what I'm saying? But that was for that reason. But this can't be criminalized though. You can't criminalize giving people pain medication and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But that's what that is. That's why they got that set up like that. That's their excuse for killing their sons and daughters, is that they have prescriptions for that. But my point, my thing is that when an elder dies, when you have someone that, you have grown up with your whole life, the whole time you've been on this planet, that person been on this planet too. You know what I'm saying? And that touches everybody's life, aunts and uncles and cousins, and that touches everybody's life. And it's just so heartbreaking to see a family be broken and splintered, and because of all these things from the past that come up in the event of this person's death, and how all of these irritations and these feelings that have never been spoken on, now they come up at this moment. And this is like the time where you need to bond and stick together and be together and be each other's strength. And it's just sad that we've just all been so browbeaten and so broken down by life that we can't even come together in somebody's death. And this is to celebrate a life, because this man was on the earth for 84 years. He saw 84 years. Right. That is a life to be celebrated.
It is.
And instead you have people bickering and arguing and being petty. And it's nuts. And we just it's so many things that come at us on a daily basis. And it's like, how do we get back to being what we were? Like, how do we really take those steps to really and truly, especially when you have difficult people in your family that don't want to listen and don't want to be forgiving, and they do hold on to the petty stuff. It's so hard to always be that person. But I manage very well, thank you.
I mean, not, me and Jay were talking about this, and every time somebody passes, we basically have the same conversation. Like, it's crazy and amazing the way that death brings out the worst in the living. It's real wild to me. And no matter how many times I see it and how many different families I see it in, it is still wild to me. I'm just like, I don't, like, sometimes I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, when grandma passed, I was hurt. Like I was physically hurt. And so, like, petty arguments and bickering and stuff like that got on my nerves. Like, I was mad. And I'm like, I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be mad at the rest of my family. But I'm like, I need y'all to chill out. Like, I need y'all to realize that her passing hurt physically. My daughter, who's very close to my grandma, very close to grandma, named after grandma, was hurt. And so for her to watch the family basically crumble, and she's hurting, and the people that she should be able to lean on besides me and her father weren't there for her to lean on because they were so caught up in their petty arguments. Well, in 1925, you took my cookie out my lunchbox. Like, so what?
Listen,
and
I
now
want you to stop putting that on my peoples. They ain't that damn old now. Look,
I'm just saying, like,
no, but I mean,
now that we are, in the same position again,
I'm gonna tell you another thing of what it is too. It's a whole lot too of people not being real. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of what the issue is that you don't really speak how you feel in front of mama and daddy to certain people because of how they treat them. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like people say you treat every child is different, so you have to treat them different. You do.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You can say you don't, but there are certain aspects in which you do have to handle each child differently.
Yes.
Considering their personalities and stuff. And that's what it is. It's the dynamics of a lot of different strong personalities. Mm-hmm. But some people cater to others more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then that does bring resentment. Where like I'm constantly, I gotta tiptoe around you when mama around. Or I gotta keep my mouth closed when daddy around. You know what I'm saying? Because I really want to, but
I want to give you the business.
Hey, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? I learned a long time ago. I ain't doing that. I'm giving it to anybody that really need it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And even in your giving it to them, there's a way to do it though.
Exactly. I'm not gonna disrespect you. I'm gonna always keep it 100 though. You know what I'm saying? Like. I was talking on the phone, talking about the situation, but my coworkers could hear me. I was on the phone, but I was stating facts. They like, dang, you like the bearer of good news? I'm like, no, I'm not. What you talking about? Like, you just spitting it out. Just, what is there to should like? Oh, that's what she said. She was like, dang, you ain't making it seem like it's no hope or nothing. Nigga, it ain't none. What you talking about? There is no hope. Right. What am I going to sugarcoat? Why am I going to lie?
Right.
What am I?
And then even, but there's a way to do it. So
exactly, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As long as you're not like gut bucket dancing with the neck rolling and loudness and all that. But some conversations are just, it is what it is. Like, we got to sit down, we got to talk this out, we got to hash this out. Or I'm holding on to something and I don't want to hold on to it no more. And now I'm at a point where I can talk to you about it. As opposed to cussing you out about it.
And in those situations too, sometimes that person is not ready to receive a message. Yes. They're not ready to talk about it. Right. And in that situation, you gotta recognize that so that you don't get so pissed off that you end up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't let them draw you in.
You gotta walk away from it. And then what do? You start dealing with that person accordingly. And I'll deal with you on your terms. The way you want to be dealt with, the way I see how you and it's done. We won't have to talk about it no more. But you have to be an important person for me to be willing to do to me, for me to be willing to do that. I have to really love you.
Right.
Because that, to me, for real, that's like a sacrifice.
Right.
Because I feel like, because it's still bothering me.
Yeah, and you're sacrificing being your authentic self for the sake of somebody else's feelings.
For the sake of someone else, and for the sake of love. Because I love you that much.
Right.
That I'm willing to do that. Because, other than that, you probably wouldn't be in my life. But I love you that much. I won't keep you around.
So when you have these kinds of moments and conversations, would you say that there's an ideal place to have it? Like
privacy. I wouldn't do it in a restaurant.
No, not the restaurant, but would you do it at your house, at the other person's house?
Their house, it don't matter.
Neutral territory.
You ain't gonna fight.
I mean, I'm just.
But I'm saying, what difference do it make where you at?
Because then it'll be one of these, she brought me to her house to cuss me out, or she came over my house and cussed me out.
If somebody does that, they a lie, because that's not what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna cuss you out.
I know, but I'm just saying,
my thing is, I'm having this conversation with you not out of animosity.
Right.
It's not because I have any malice intent or I want to hurt you. I'm having this conversation because I'm hurt. And I want you to know how I feel. And I want to repair this. I want to move forward. And I want to move forward with you. Because I love you. Whoever you are. Be you my friend, my man, my relative, whoever you are. I'm having this conversation with you out of love. Because I promise you, I will not waste my time.
Right.
I will keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing.
We ain't even got to talk about it. We ain't got to talk about why I don't like you, why I don't rock with you. We both know what you did. We both know how you are. We both know I see you.
Right.
So we ain't got to talk about it. We just act.
We act accordingly. Okay. But there are some people in your life that you can't do that with. And so you do have to find a way to have those difficult conversations.
I like how you got that out. You trying to, girl.
I'm telling you what I do. What I do.
I'm not mad at you. And look, I apologize, y'all, if we was kind of scattered in different conversations.
It all goes together.
It does, though. It does. Because you got to talk about all of that stuff to get to the root of why things are how they are in our community as a whole, much less individually as families.
Right.
Our community as a whole has all of these issues that splinter us and tear us apart, and that stuff carries over into our daily lives and our daily dealings with our family members and how we interact with them and how they interact with us, you know what I'm saying?
And how they interact with other people.
So
as a result of me sitting, my sister down and having this difficult conversation with her, that may empower her to go sit down with a coworker and have that difficult conversation. And that may spark that person to go have a difficult conversation. But then the fact for healing.
Yeah, and then the fact of it is we're never going to have community unity if we can't even have family unity. True. We got to learn how to get to the we gotta be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Agreed. I mean, and we got family members that ain't no blood, but you know what I'm saying? But they feel like family. You know what I'm saying? So that's cool. That's what's up. But we got to get back to family, being there, being strong for family.
I like it.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Own up to your mistakes. That this is our self-care for this evening. Own up to your mistakes. If you've made a mistake recently, an error no one is aware of yet, then act upon it immediately. No one likes to make mistakes, but when you've messed up, admit it right away. Though you might be afraid of taking the heat, accepting blame before anyone else realizes what's happened makes you look trustworthy and confident. Unless you've committed a major transgression, people are more likely to remember that you had the guts to come forward than they are to remember that you did wrong. And that can pay off you in a big way. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm missing 4. And that can pay off for you in a big way in the long run. I really got to get some glasses. I really do. But I will say this too. Not just that, along with that, owning up to your mistakes, is also reflect on a situation that has happened with a family member that you have a disagreement with or that you have some animosity towards. And reflect on that. And like the mindful moment says, meditate on that and try and reach a point of forgiveness for yourself. Try and do that for you, if for no other reason. Try and get a better understanding of one another, and try and know one another now, and see how you can roll with this person now in a way that's going to make family unity possible.
I like it. I like it a lot. So, the brain science behind it all. I'm going to give you 12 tips for handling difficult conversations. So, we all have an inner voice that tells us when we need to have a difficult conversation with someone. A conversation that, if it took place, would improve life at the office for ourselves and for everyone else on our team. Fear drowns that inner voice, and we put the conversation off. The consequence of not having that uncomfortable conversation can be costly. So, handling difficult conversations requires skill and empathy, but ultimately it requires the courage to go ahead and do it. The more you get into the habit of facing these issues squarely, the more adept you will become at it. A crucial conversation is best approached with care.
I will also like to say this before we go. Another challenge. I'm going to give you a second part to this challenge.
Okay.
Tell everyone that is important to you in your life that you love them. Tell them now, before anything happens to them. For no reason, just call them up and say, I love you. I just want you to know that you are important to me and that you made an impact on my life, and I love you. And I told that to my aunt last night, and it was a beautiful thing. It felt great to be able to tell her that, because she's not well. So to be able to tell her that, and it feels good. So do that tonight too.
Okay, so 12 steps. First, be clear about the issue. To prepare, you might need to ask yourself 2 important questions. What exactly is the behavior that is causing the problem, and what is the impact that the behavior is having on you or your family? 2, know your objective. What do you want to accomplish with this conversation? What is your desired outcome? What are the non-negotiables in having this conversation? So, 3, adopt the mindset of inquiry. Spend a little time to reflect on your attitude towards the situation and the person involved. What are your preconceived notions about it? Your mindset will predetermine your reaction and interpretations of the other person's responses. So it pays to approach such a conversation with the right mindset. 4, manage your emotions. This is where I always get stuck at. Most of us are likely raised to believe that emotions need to be left at the door. We now know that this is an old school approach that is no longer valid in today's environment. It is your responsibility to understand and manage the emotions in the discussions, most importantly, your own. Be comfortable with silence. There will be moments in the conversation where a silence occurs. Do not rush to fill it with words. Just as the pause between musical notes helps us appreciate the music, so does the periodic silence in the conversation allows us to hear what is being said and lets the message sink in. Preserve the relationship. A person who has a high emotional intelligence is always mindful to limit any collateral damage in a relationship. It takes years to build bridges with people and only 2 minutes to blow it up. So think about how the conversation can fix the situation without erecting an irreparable wall between you and that person.
Words hurt and you cannot take them back.
No, you can't.
They last forever.
Be consistent. So when you have these difficult conversations with everybody, have it the same. Be consistent. Be fair. Develop your conflict resolution skills. If a conflict should arise in your conversation, use your emotional intelligence to diffuse it quickly. Watch your reaction to thwarting ploys. So when they're trying to deflect, you have to watch how you react to said deflection to keep the conversation moving positively. Number 10.
I got good at that, boy.
Number 10, this is what I just said a minute ago. Choose the right place to have the conversation. Calling people out for lunch may not be the best strategy for having a difficult conversation or the best place. Try to find neutral territory if possible, or if not, an afternoon tea date. I've never heard of a tea date. Tea date at one of your houses will be ideal. All right, number 11. We're almost done here. Know how to begin. Some people put off having a conversation because they don't know how to start it. The best way to start a difficult conversation is with a direct approach. So you would say, hey, I would like to talk to you about what happened when. And then you can go from there. Try to use your I statements and I messages so it doesn't seem as though you are placing blame. Last but not least, teach other people how to handle difficult conversations. There are books out there called Difficult Conversations, How to Discuss What Matters Most, and Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High. These can be found at your local bookstores or Amazon, it says.
All right.
So this week, we're going to call people and tell them we love them.
Yes.
We are going to own up to our own mistakes.
Yep.
And we're going to find ways to have those difficult conversations with people.
And we're going to search for forgiveness. We're
And
going to
search
search
for forgiveness.
For forgiveness.
So this week, as you fly, those are your tasks, your charges, as they say in church. I charge you today, my sister.
I don't know. I don't go to church. I'm sorry.
You can fly with us on YouTube, SoundCloud, Anchor, Apple Podcasts now. What? Moving up. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter and SoundCloud. And as always, you can email us at flywithusla@gmail.com. I'm Lady Bounce.
I'm Kryptonite, y'all.
And we out.
All right. Hey, this is good.